Next on Currents News, an extraordinary hearing in Washington. Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh and the woman accusing him of sexual assault tell very different stories. The U.S. bishops are fighting against clerical sex abuse. An expert joins us to examine what actions are being taken. With a new flu season fast approaching, new data tonight shows just how deadly the disease can be. Plus, the woman who's showing no sign of slowing down as she approaches a major milestone. The news starts right now.
I've never sexually assaulted anyone.
Judge Brett Kavanaugh on national television hoping to convince the Senate he should be confirmed for the U.S. Supreme Court. Good evening, everyone. I'm Liz Faublas. High drama in the nation's capital as senators question Kavanaugh and the woman accusing him of sexual assault. Currents News' Tim Harfman is here with the latest. Tim.
Liz, the historic hearing featured two individuals taking the same oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Except there were two very different versions of what that truth is. Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, under oath, testifying to the Senate Judiciary Committee, defending himself against allegations of sexual assault.
I'm here today to tell the truth. I've never sexually assaulted anyone.
The woman taking the same pledge to tell the truth, Dr. Blasey Ford.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you very much.
She accused Kavanaugh of sexual assault at a party in 1982.
I am here today not because I want to be. I am terrified. I am here because I believe it is my civic duty to tell you what happened to me while Brett Kavanaugh and I were in high school.
Dr. Ford described the alleged assault.
I tried to yell for help. When I did, Brett put his hand over my mouth to stop me from yelling. This is what terrified me the most and has had the most lasting impact on my life. It was hard for me to breathe, and I thought that Brett was accidentally going to kill me.
She said she didn't report the incident because she didn't want her parents to know she attended a party where alcohol was served. Kavanaugh denied the incident and ripped some members of the Democrats on the committee.
This is a circus. The consequences will extend long past my nomination. We will have abandoned the basic principles of fairness and due process that define our legal system and our country.
Dr. Ford told the committee she was certain of what happened.
With what degree of certainty do you believe Brett Kavanaugh assaulted you?
100%.
100%.
So what you are telling us is this could not be a case of mistaken identity?
Absolutely not.
This confirmation process has become a national disgrace. The Constitution gives the Senate an important role in the confirmation process, but you have replaced advice and consent with search and destroy.
Two other women have come forward accusing Judge Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct. There are no Senate hearings scheduled on those allegations, Liz.
Tim, Dr. Ford made her accusations many weeks ago. Why the delay in the Senate hearings?
Dr. Ford claimed to have a fear of flying, so it took her a while to get over that obstacle to travel from her home in California to D.C. Judge Kavanaugh, however, said that he wanted a hearing as soon as the accusations were made.
All right, Tim, thank you so much for that report. The Knights of Columbus rallying behind Brett Kavanaugh, putting its 2 million members on action alert. The Knights Supreme Council urged the membership to get in touch with their senators and tell them to vote for the judge's confirmation to the Supreme Court. The Knights are one of several Catholic institutions that have voiced public support for the Kavanaugh nomination. New York's Cardinal Dolan is praising the decision to stop the use of aborted baby body parts for research. The Trump administration canceled a research contract that permitted the use of fetal tissue. Cardinal Dolan called it the right move, saying, quote, "There is no room for callously using aborted children to further a research goal." The New York Archbishop heads up the pro-life committee for the U.S. bishops. He called on the White House to discontinue all funding earmarked for research involving aborted babies. The Pope's breakthrough agreement giving China a say over bishops bishop appointments facing criticism tonight. Hong Kong Cardinal Joseph Zen denounced the deal as a betrayal of the underground church. The Holy Father urged Chinese Catholics to trust him.
L'accordo è frutto di un lungo e ponderato cammino di dialogo inteso a favorire una più positiva collaborazione tra la Santa Sede e le autorità cinesi per il bene della comunità cattolica in Cina e per l'armonia dell'intera società.
Francis told his listeners to leave past conflicts with the communist government behind them. A video secretly recorded in a classroom located in China's most Christian province showed an education official announcing that teachers could not be religious or teach the faith and ordering university students not to believe in any religions. According to reports from Wenzhou province, students have already been expelled from school for praying in private. China firing back as President Trump reinforced his accusations against them. Mr. Trump blaming Beijing for not only trying to meddle in November's U.S. elections, but also of attacking American farmers as retaliation against him.
Because they don't want me to get elected because this has never happened to them. The markets are down 32% in the last 4 months, and our markets are up. We're taking in billions of dollars in tariff money going right into our treasury, and China's getting hurt. So I don't like it when they attack our farmers, and I don't like it when they put out false messages. But beside that, we learned that they are trying to meddle in our elections, and we're not going to let that happen, just as we're not going to let that happen with Russia.
A Chinese foreign ministry spokesman this morning told the U.S. to stop making accusations that damage relations between the two countries. The face-to-face showdown between the president and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein is being postponed. Instead of meeting today, the two men plan to get together next week. John Lawrence reports on the changing situation.
Rod Rosenstein might not have to start looking for a new job just yet.
We'll be meeting at the White House, and we'll be determining what's going on.
Sources said the Deputy Attorney General offered to turn in his notice to Chief of Staff John Kelly last week. This after a report from the New York Times that claimed Rosenstein considered secretly recording the president and invoking the 25th Amendment to oust him from office following the firing of FBI Director James Comey. Rosenstein denies the allegations.
We've had a good talk. He said he never said it. He said he doesn't believe it. He said he has a lot of respect for me, and he was very nice, and we'll see.
Members of both parties say if President Trump gets rid of Rosenstein, there would be serious repercussions. That's because Rosenstein is overseeing Special Counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation.
If the president fires Rod Rosenstein, it is Exhibit B in the obstruction of justice case against him, Exhibit A being the firing of James Comey.
If he did something like that, it would cause a furor that I don't think we need right now.
Some Republicans say they want to see memos from former FBI Director Andrew McCabe, which a Democratic aide says detail Rosenstein's reported comments about ousting the president. In the meantime, Rosenstein can only await his fate. John Lawrence, Currents News.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro is open to meeting with President Donald Trump. They've been bitter enemies. When addressing the UN General Assembly on Wednesday, Maduro said he and Trump are different but still should get together.
Despite all of the differences, the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, would be willing, I am willing to reach out my hand to the President of the United States, Donald Trump, and discuss these matters bilaterally, these matters involving our region.
Trump said he's certainly open to a meeting with Maduro. No plans have been announced. More people died from the flu last year than in the past 4 decades. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says 80,000 Americans died from the flu and its complications last winter. In previous flu seasons, the deaths ranged from about 12,000 to 56,000. The CDC said it was also the first outbreak to severely affect all age groups. There's a lot more news headed your way. The bishops are beefing up their actions to combat clerical clerical sex abuse. An expert looks into the plans, and she joins us next. A Syrian Jesuit's dream for an end to war and the rebuilding of his homeland. The Pope's radio station and the important role it played in the winning of World War II. Do you have a story idea, something happening in your parish we should know about? We want to hear from you. Keep this email handy, newstips@thesalesmedia.org. We'll be right back. A major compensation plan for survivors of clerical sex abuse has won the approval of a bankruptcy judge in Minnesota. Under the settlement, $210 million will be set aside for victims in the St. Paul and Minneapolis Archdiocese. The Archbishop, Bernard Hebda, was in the courtroom and delivered a statement saying, quoting here, "I am so sorry for the horrific things done to you by people you should have been able to trust." The Archdiocese filed for bankruptcy in 2015. A change in the state's statute of limitations led to mounting claims of clergy sexual abuse. In the fight against clerical sex abuse, the U.S. bishops are taking matters into their own hands, launching an investigation of disgraced cleric Theodore McCarrick, with the laity leading the probe. Dr. Joann Heaney-Hunter is a professor of pastoral theology at St. John's University. She spent a decade working with the Brooklyn Diocese Clergy Review Board, and she joins us now. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
The bishops went to Rome to get the Pope's okay on a Vatican-led investigation into McCarrick. Now, that approval has not come yet. Why do you think that is?
Well, I wouldn't want to speak for the Vatican,
Sure.
But I think that since Pope Francis has been Pope, one of the things that he has spoken about and said is that it's very important for local bishops' conferences and local bishops to work on the issues that are particular to their area. So because the Vatican, because the Pope ultimately approves who becomes a bishop, the Vatican will probably be involved at some point. But it's very important for the U.S. bishops and bishops in individual dioceses to continue to do the work that they've already been doing on clergy sex abuse.
So to clarify, bishops can create change in their own diocese. The Vatican doesn't necessarily have to be involved.
Well, it's interesting. Pope Francis has said not everything needs to come from the Vatican,
Okay.
but I think it's important to ask the question, what does change mean? So an individual bishop could not change canon law. An individual bishop could not change regulations on priestly celibacy. An individual bishop could never do that. But there are things, there are policies and procedures that could be set forth by an individual bishop or by a bishop's conference.
You spoke a little bit earlier about bishops overseeing bishops and why that's a questionable tactic. So let's talk about this. The USCCB's investigation on Cardinal McCarrick is led by lay individuals, which is a key point. What can lay people bring to this investigation?
It's absolutely crucial to have lay people leading this investigation because they can be independent, they're outside of the system, they bring professional expertise that is just not available in the bishop's conference. So people that are in law enforcement, mental health, those are areas that should be drawn upon in order to do a credible investigation. These should not be people that have anything to gain from this investigation, but they should be people with a love for the church that are able to look objectively at what needs to be done.
Let's delve deeper into what may and probably should be addressed in this investigation. One of the big questions that people have asked is about Theodore McCarrick. How did he ascend the ranks of the church leadership, and who knew about the allegations against him? Can these answers be even broached or found without the Vatican involved?
Well, see, it was the Vatican, it's always the Pope that appoints a bishop. And so to go back to the original question, how did Archbishop McCarrick become a bishop? How was he made a cardinal? those appointments are made not from the local bishops, but from the Vatican itself.
Dr. Heaney-Hunter, finally, you've dedicated your life to this as an academic and also personally. Given what we have seen just develop over the last few months, over the last few weeks, do you see much progress being made? And what do we need to do from this point on for people to start gaining more hope, credibility, and faith in the church again?
See, having been on the review board, I know how much work has already been done. What we're doing now is we're asking the question, what happens when leaders are not doing what they're supposed to do? The Dallas Charter was applicable for priests and deacons, but not for bishops. And so now what we're seeing with this really terrible situation of Archbishop McCarrick, we're asking the question, how do we hold our bishops accountable when the structure says bishops are only accountable to the Pope?
Dr. Heaney-Hunter, always such a pleasure to talk with you. We can go on for a lot longer, but you'll have to come back.
I would love to.
So many more questions
Thank
to
you
answer.
so much. Thank you.
The Brooklyn Diocese has several important measures in place to help identify and prevent sexual abuse. Under the leadership of Bishop Nicholas DiMarzio, the Office of Victim Assistance has been established to help individuals who come forward with allegations of abuse. The office provides counseling, referrals for therapy, and other important resources. Also important to note here, every employee of the diocese, including students, undergoes mandatory training designed to spot the signs of abuse and how to stop it. The bishop meets with survivors and listens to them carefully. One result of those talks is the annual Mass of Hope and Healing in the diocese. The diocese also has a toll-free and confidential sexual abuse reporting line. That number is 888-634-4499. And for more information, go to the Diocese of Brooklyn's website, dioceseofbrooklyn.org, and click on Protecting Our Children. A Jesuit Syrian priest is hoping his homeland will have a brighter future. Father Nara Samur runs the Jesuit Refugee Center in Syria and Iraq, which is promoting projects to rebuild the war-torn areas. The Jesuit himself never imagined he would see refugees from his own country.
I would say in Syria today, it's the common word, it's uncertainty. Although the situation in terms of security is better, much better. Roads are secured, cities, the biggest cities are secured, etc., but still uncertainty.
Father Samur also says he dreams the war will be over and says at this point there will neither be a winner or loser to the fight. The former governor of the Mexican state of Veracruz is now behind bars. Javier Duarte pleaded guilty to criminal association and money laundering. The court sentenced Duarte to 9 years in prison, fined him over $3,000, and seized dozens of properties authorities say were resources stolen from the state. Duarte served as governor of Veracruz from 2010 to 2016. New research is disclosing the role of the Pope's radio station played at a key moment in history. The author of a new book found that Vatican radio helped the Allies in the Second World War. Cody Williams has that report.
The Pope's radio station, known as Vatican Radio, has been operational for more than 87 years. Its first emission was on February 12, 1931. Now, this professor from the Catholic University of Venice reveals its importance, all the way from its creation until the end of World War II.
Radio Vaticana è una radio speciale perché
Vatican Radio is special because it was built by the same inventor of the radio, Guillermo Marconi. From its beginnings until the end of the 30s, this radio broadcasts in multiple languages in several countries of the world.
The radio was inaugurated by Pius XI, and since its beginning, it played an important role. During World War II, it served as an instrument to publicize the names of survivors in prisons during the bombings.
Radio Vaticana acquisì un ruolo.
It played a very important role during the Second World War because it was a diplomatic and propagandist instrument for the Vatican.
It was also fundamental in its pacifying role. While Hitler was showing the Jews as a threat to the world, the Pope sent a radio message in which he sympathized with the people who were persecuted for racial reasons.
Credo che oggi come allora la Chiesa abbia...
Now I think the Church has understood the importance of the media, and I believe all the improvements incorporated within these past years are timely.
Vatican Radio currently transmits the latest news of the Pope and the Vatican to the world in 36 languages. It is one of the most important references of communication about the Catholic Church, as a radio station that has remained on air for nearly a century. In Rome, Cody Williams, Currents News.
Still to come on Currents News, the impact on wallets and pocketbooks after the interest rate hike. And she's a woman at work and not slowing down. Her story is pretty remarkable. We'll be right back. Economists are assessing how the new Fed rate hike will hit you in the pocket. The Federal Reserve raised interest rates for the third time this year. This time it's by 0.25%, but economic experts say nearly everyone will see interest rates go up. This hike is likely to impact the cost of housing, cars, student loans, and even the interest on your credit cards. Federal officials expect at least 3 more increases in 2019. Wash and set, blow dry, hair color, you name it, and 99-year-old beautician Callie Terrell will oblige with a smile. She's been a licensed beautician for over 73 years, and even as a major milestone approaches, she still loves her job.
I work because this is what I've enjoyed doing all my life. From a little girl, I always loved messing with my sister's hair. They had beautiful hair. And I always enjoyed doing this.
Callie Terrell loves making women look and feel good.
I feel good. Well, when I do it again, maybe pay more.
These days, Mrs. Terrell works just to keep busy and satisfy a few longtime customers like her daughter Inez. She's anxiously waiting for her 100th birthday in November.
And if I give out my birthday to people, you have to pay for it. November 26th.
How old will you be?
100. How about that?
Her incredible zest for life is matched only by her work ethic. WREG checked the state of Tennessee, and they first issued her license to operate on January 30th, 1945. She rents space in a salon now, but once had her own thriving business. She's outlived almost all of her customers.
People my age that I used to buddy with, I don't have a single one. I was in a bridge club. I'm the only one in the club that's living.
Work is part of her secret to longevity.
I'm not used to just being up in the house. See, I work so long. I've just been around people. So I enjoy being with people and doing something exciting. Most old people, they're so dry and droll. I can't deal with that. I gotta live and I do the things that make me happy.
Working brings her joy, but she plans to finally retire at the end of the year. She says don't expect to find her sitting around the house doing nothing.
I just be waiting on somebody to call and say, Carrie, you busy? And I said, no, well, they said, well, come on over here. We doing so-and-so. And I jump in the car and go, you want to do something.
Well, I can't imagine anyone not wanting this wonderful young lady around, so she'll probably get a ton of calls. We'd love to be the first to wish her a very happy 100th birthday. That is Currents News. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Liz Faublas. Set your DVR to record this program so that you never miss it, because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.